studio audience here on Howville Road in Berwyn, Pennsylvania. It's the Hawk Talk Show. Please welcome your host, Mr. Hawkins.
Thank you guys so much. Oh man, you guys are great. It's so good to see all of you, and it's good to see you guys most of all. Man, this time off has really been weird. You're kind of trapped in your house all by yourselves with your family. One thing I really miss, especially this time of year, is baseball. Man, I remember last year we took the family down to a Phillies game. It was amazing. And then I saw baseball during the game, and then it kept getting bigger and bigger. And then it hit me. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Again, something that I've been doing with my family since we've been kind of isolated here is we've been reading a lot of books, especially like to read books to Joey. The other day we read a book about Australia and the animals there, and we looked at a koala bear, and I thought to myself, why isn't a koala considered a bear? It doesn't have the qualification. Yes, that was a good one. So something else, another book that I was reading, Joey, is about dinosaurs. And pterodactyl was there. And I thought of this. I was like, how come you can't hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom? Because its P is silent. Yeah, thank you very much. Well, listen, folks, we have a great show ahead of you. We have many special guest stars coming in. Some amazing actors are going to be here. You've seen them in films that you've seen before, like on Dilations and Rotations. Some amazing videos on Circles as well. So they are highly acclaimed film actors, and we're fortunate enough to have them on our show here tonight. Welcome back, everybody. Commercial break. To introduce our first guest on the show. Again, I have lined up a lot of illustrious actors that have been through my videos throughout the past month. The first one probably needs no introduction. It is my beautiful wife, Miss Amy Hawkins. Please welcome Amy Hawkins. All right. May I first start off with, you look amazing today.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful, beautiful woman. I'm a very lucky man. In any event, I have a series of questions for you. First of all, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a biology teacher at Conestoga High School, and I am married to Mr. Hawkins.
Yes, true
we
fact.
have two amazing children, but at the current time are driving us just a little bit insane.
Yeah, just a little bit. That is a very interesting conversation that we have going right now. Other things that I have lined up for you. During our time over the past month, have anything interesting things happen that you want to talk about to the audience?
Well, you have helped to make me a garden, which made me happy.
Yes, thanks.
So that was very nice.
Yes,
We've gone
nice
on several hikes.
Yes.
Jenny has been very good on those hikes, so we are definitely enjoying time at home with our animals. And I have been cooking a lot of amazing meals for you.
Yes, yeah, amazing meals, amazing. These are all fascinating topics that you're bringing up right now. Which brings me to one of the most fascinating things we've been looking at over the past month, and that was the concept of circles. It's come up time and time again.
Yes, it has. Every time I'm making dinner, I can see this circle that somehow just appeared on my kitchen floor.
Fascinating. Yes, I don't know how that appeared there,
neither do I.
but hopefully it comes off.
Yes.
In any event, were there any other topics from circles that kind of like really intrigued you?
One of the
grabbed
ones
you?
that kind of stuck out in my mind was the topic of tangents.
Yes, that is a very fascinating topic right in itself. First of all, do you know what a tangent line is?
A tangent line, I believe, and again, remember I am a biology teacher, is a line that touches the circle in one
Very
spot.
good, Miss Hawkins, biology teacher. So again, a circle and a line that touches it once would look something like that. Good.
Yes, that's what I remember.
Now, what interesting things do you remember about tangents?
I believe the tangent line is also perpendicular to the radius.
All the time, every time. So if I have a center point and I draw a radius in, it's always going to be perpendicular to that tangent line. Fascinating stuff, Mrs. Hawkins. Is there anything else?
I have been learning a lot.
Yes, yeah. Now, the other night you also mentioned something else about tangents, which was very interesting as well.
Something like with two tangents, if you have two tangents on the same circle, they will be congruent.
Always and forever. This is very true. So again, if I have a circle and two tangents coming from the same exterior point, like this one and this one, again, they're always going to be congruent segments as long as they're coming from the same exterior point. Again, these are both really fascinating things about tangents, and again, I know she talks about them all the time, so that's why I thought I'd bring them up. But in any event, I'd like to thank you, Mrs. Hawkins, for being on my show. Again,
thank you.
I know you have a lot of things to do during this time at home, but thank you for taking time out and being on my show. So please, thank Mrs. Hawkins. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome back again, everybody. Thank you for being patient through those commercial breaks. I'd like to welcome my next guest. My next guest needs no introduction. He is an award-winning actor. He's been in films like Rotations and Dilations, and most recently he was the star of Tangents. And again, please welcome my son, Joey Hawkins. Joey, how you doing, man? Good to see you, buddy. All right. Here, have a seat, please. Yes. So, Joey Hawkins, let's tell a little bit about yourself. How old are you, Joey?
7.
7 years old. That is fascinating stuff. What school do you go to?
Hillside.
Hillside? Wait, who's your teacher at Hillside?
Mrs. Peachin.
Mrs. Peachin. Mr. Peachin works at Conestoga. That is very interesting information there. So, we've been on this break from school from Mrs. Peachin. We've been kind of stuck together. What's been the worst part of it?
Spelling.
Oh, the homeschool spelling. Yes, that is a challenge for us all. But again, that has been hard. Joey, sit up, please. But in any event, one fascinating concept that we've looked at is we've looked at circles. Joey just cannot get enough of circles. He talks about it all the time. I'll clean that up later. Don't worry about that, Joey. So, Joey, what's...
A circle.
Yeah, that is a circle right there. So, Joey, what interesting things have you learned about circles? What's one of the things that really interests you?
The roundness.
They're round, and then they have these things called chords, which you were supposed to bring up. In any event, chords, again, are line segments with endpoints on the circle. And if they're congruent chords, you remember what congruent chords do, Joe? Congruent chords make congruent arcs. So that means this arc and this arc are going to be the same measure, which means that their central angles also going to be the same. So these angles are also the same. Another thing about congruent chords is the relationship with the center. Joey, what's the relationship with the center? They are always the same distance from that center point. So that was the other thing we learned about congruent chords. So these are all fascinating concepts that Joey just can't get enough of. Jenny, get out of here. Yeah. So again, we talk about these all the time here, and it's very, very interesting. But Joey, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on my show. I know you have a lot of Nintendo Switch to do, and again, thank you for dumping water all over the place. I appreciate that as well. And again, please, round of applause for Joey Hawkins. Thank you very much. Welcome back once again. My next guest is an amazing cinematographer. She is a camera person. She's been behind the scenes of all of my videos that I've made and produced. I owe a lot to her, and she is my daughter, Maggie Hawkins. Please welcome Maggie Hawkins. So good to have you on the show. So I'm going to have a few questions for you. First of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a freshman at Conestoga High School.
Fascinating.
I played on JV soccer
Nice.
and freshman girls basketball team.
All right, so you're quite the athlete. That's very interesting. Interesting stuff. So we've been trapped together for over a month now. Has anything interesting happened during that time?
No.
No, nothing at all. It's interesting in itself. Yes, nothing has happened. Nothing at all. Has there been anything bad that happened?
Yeah, the pipe in our yard bursted.
It just had a minor clog in it. Yes, but that was an interesting topic to bring up. Yeah, very fascinating, very fascinating. One of the fascinating things we've been looking at, and that Maggie can't stop talking about, is the concept of circles. Circles is everywhere. We talk about. We keep making videos about them. But what's one interesting topic that you really found fascinating?
Intersecting lines within circles.
Yeah, they are very, very interesting. There's a lot to know about them. So first of all, we started off with like a central angle. So the central angle, what was special about the central angle?
It was equal to the corresponding arc.
Very good. It's equal to the arc that it makes. So again, central angle is equal to the arc that it makes. So if that's a 30-degree angle, that's a 30-degree arc. Then we went and moved on with inscribed angles. What was true about inscribed angles?
They are half the
Good.
arc.
They're half the arc. Very good. So if that's a 30-degree arc, that's a 15-degree angle. So that was very fascinating, and she couldn't stop talking about it literally the whole time. So then we talked about intersecting lines and circles. So that where that intersection happens kind of changes things. If you have the intersection on the inside of the circle like this, we could find that angle. Do you remember how, Maggie?
By subtracting or
Close.
adding.
Add. So you add these two arcs that are made, divide by 2, and you can find the angle. But that's only when it happens on the inside. If the intersection happens on the outside, do something a little bit different. That would be like this. So now to find that angle, what are you going to do, Max?
Subtract.
You subtract them and take half. Good. So it's always the big arc minus the little arc. Take half, and that gets you your angle. So these are all fascinating facts. She has a hard time sleeping at night because she's thinking about them all the time. Something new we're going to look at today is something that pops up in Algebra 2 sometimes. That is that you can write an equation of a circle, just like you can write the equation of a line. Do you happen to know the equation of a circle?
The area?
No, the equation, kind of like a line is y equals mx plus b.
No.
The equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared
Oh, I do
is
know that.
equal to r squared. And again, this is basically, if you look at it, it looks like a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. It's basically the Pythagorean theorem on the coordinate plane, which is basically the distance formula. And basically what we're going to look at today in the notes, when I go over the notes, is we're going to focus in on h and k. H and k are actually the coordinates of the center. H and k are the center. Then this r is the r you know and love. That is the radius. We'll be using that as well. So again, we'll be able to graph that on the coordinate plane using that, and that's what I'm going to teach you in the notes today. It's really not that bad. It looks like a headache, but it's not that bad. But in any event, Maggie, I know you've had a lot of TikToking to do, so on and so forth. Your time is very busy. I appreciate you taking time out and being on my show today. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being at our show in our studio today. And again, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.
Just say so.